Welcome to another episode of Overlanding with Bruce. Unfortunately, we're not on our way to Zimbabwe like originally planned. There was a bit of a mix-up with the pricing for Ghana Roseau, where our original booking was for $682 for the week, for 6 days, for 4 of us. And when I confirmed the booking 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, they decided to change it to over $1,000. Which obviously is a little bit excessive to camp in a where there's no facilities, even though Ghana Roseau is spectacular. So we're kind of winging it in this episode. We're going to Mpumalanga, we're going to visit Blyde River Canyon and see what there is to visit in that area, and then we're going to Kruger, and we're going to stay in Tsenzi for a few days, and then we'll kind of see what happens from there. I'll also be showing you what we've done, our setup so far. Unfortunately, I'm waiting for the draw system, which is not ready. We left Joburg at about 5 a.m. It's now 7:41. We're almost at Millie's. We're just taking it very slow. The Jimny's battling a little bit with the rooftop tent and the weight in it. But we're going to stop at Millie's for breakfast. So let's get there and we'll check in after that. We all ordered our traditional breakfast, and those fish are not breakfast, but they did have fish on the menu, so I was a little bit concerned. But the meal was great, and we got going soon afterwards. So far, we've been traveling all dual carriageway highway with a little bit of roadworks in between, and both the Jimny and the Landy performed well, although the Jimny seemed to struggle a little bit with the extra weight of the rooftop tent and probably a little bit less aerodynamic. Not that it's the best aerodynamic car in the world. The Landy pulled the trailer with ease. I was actually pretty surprised. On the open road, the fuel consumption was sitting at about 11 litres per 100, and it later dropped down to about 10.2, but we were travelling slow because of the Jimny. After Millie's, the terrain constantly changes. So if you're doing this route, I suggest you leave enough time so that you have time to stop and enjoy the various views that you come across. There are also quite a few picnic spots which I was quite surprised at, and they were very clean, which is very unusual. Perhaps they haven't been used in a while, I'm not sure, but nice places to stop. Some of you may notice that I've worn a Landy shirt for a change instead of a Jeep shirt. Some of you gave me trouble for my Jeep shirt last time, so I thought I'd get this. Auto Excellence gave me a couple of t-shirts after my last service on the 130 with them, and yeah, they're great shirts. So if you ever want, order from them. They're really, really nice. Yesterday we drove down the N4 from Joburg towards Nelspruit, and then we took the R539 towards Sabi, which is a really, really nice route, and if you haven't done it, you really should do it. We also visited Pilgrim's Rest. It was really nice to see this old ancient, not ancient, but old town really busy with tourists. There was some talk a while ago about the town not surviving and getting demolished and all that sort of thing, which would have been really sad to see. But the town's looking good. There were a lot of people there. We visited an old hotel and had a drink there and took a walk around. It was a lot of fun, and the staff and all the establishments are really friendly. One of them even tried to give Bronwyn some lessons on how to dance to the song Jerusalema. I don't know how accurate those dance moves were, but I couldn't do much better, so I'll just leave it at that. These petrol pumps were really amazing because they're old petrol pumps that have been converted so that they still work. There's a lot of old cars and old stuff lying around, and I can't help but wonder, at one stage in that history of that vehicle, somebody bought it brand new off a showroom floor and was pretty excited to get it. and where have they been, how did they get here, and all of that. And then after that we decided to go back to Mac Falls. There's a campsite right there. We were hoping to rent one of the tented camps, but as we drove in the entrance there were some very noisy campers which we could hear from almost a kilometer away, playing their doof music and screaming and shouting, and we thought, no, it can only get worse, so we decided not to stay there. And we turned around and we went back to Kruger. I had a little break in Kruger, which is a nice little town to visit, and then headed along the R532 to the Blyde River Canyon Forever Resort. And I know some of you are thinking, Forever Resort, oh my goodness, the worst overlander's nightmare. But it was actually pretty nice. I mean, we rented a little chalet for the night, a bit lazy to set up camp and everything, and we had this view. Spectacular sight, very, very quiet. We didn't hear a sound the whole night. Got a bit chilly, got a bit hot. Weather conditions changed all the time like they do in the mountains, but really, really nice stay. So today what we're going to do is we're going to just explore the area and see what we can find. And then we'll head towards Hoedspruit, which takes us near Kruger, which we're hoping to be on Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll see how it goes. Not sure if you guys have these overseas, but they're rusks. It's kind of a overcooked piece of sweet bread, I guess. Almost like toast, which South Africans like to have in the morning as a starter before their breakfast. You dip it. Mustn't get too soft, otherwise it falls in your coffee and makes porridge, which is not lekker. And you eat it like that. Really great. Even the baboons approve. Hope you could hear that. When visiting this area, give yourself enough time to stop off at the various tourist attractions. There's a lot of them. There's also a lot of viewpoints and a lot of places that are really nice to stop at. So don't rush through the area. Maybe give yourself 2 or 3 days at least on the way to Kruger, or visit the area specifically. And it's not too far away from Johannesburg if you come from Johannesburg, so you could easily make it a long weekend. The weather constantly changed from rainy, overcast, misty conditions, and we unfortunately missed out on some of the sights like God's Window. But it cleared enough for us to see some of the good sights. Burke's Luck Potholes is one of the more popular places in the area to visit. It's named after a chap in the 1800s who found some gold here, but unfortunately left after not finding his fortune. The rock formations are actually pretty spectacular and they almost look man-made, and it's amazing to think that water has done this to them. I filmed this thinking Bronwyn and Catherine were going to slip into the water, but they never did. We did see another lady face plant on the rocks, so just be very careful if you visit here. The rocks are very slippy in certain places. We then went down the mountain, down a spectacular pass, and I'm definitely going to bring the GS back here so that I can ride this road. You also go through JG Stratum Tunnel, and for those overseas, we're not really used to tunnels here in South Africa. We've only got a few of them. So it's always a nice experience for us. And for some reason, we always tend to hoot in tunnels. No idea why. We then ended up at Swadini, which we thought looked like it was quite nice to stay, and we booked in for a couple of nights. Again, we stayed in a chalet, kind of spoilt ourselves a bit, the least overland like to do, but we also took a boat trip, which was really good.
Around, he managed to conquer the warriors. So after the battle, the king Mariki Mashire decided to own himself by giving these three round mountains the names of his three wives. So the man, he was lucky to have three wives, plus three mother-in-laws.
Unlucky to have three wives. Unlucky to have three wives. One is more than enough.
One is already.
One you surrender for.
No.
Well done.
You have one that's stunning.
The boat trip really gives you a different perspective of the mountains. Okay, our first bit of dirt road for the trip. We're going to see Jessica the hippo, and we're just outside of Hoedspruit. And then tomorrow we will finally be in Kruger National Park, where we're heading to Senzi Rustic Camp, which I'm quite excited about as we haven't been there. But I've heard so many good reports, so we're looking very forward to that. I only have two things that I don't like with the Landy so far. And that's one is the cruise control. It's quite rubbish, especially when you're going through the mountains and stuff. And what happens is the cruise control allows the car or Landy to slow down too much, and it almost seems like it's battling to go up the hill. Then it will change down 2 gears, rev to about 4,000 RPM, which doesn't sound really good, and then it will change up 2 gears instead of it, you know, like most vehicles, going down 1 gear, keeping the speed, you know, changing like that. And then the other thing is that the bings and the bongs when you open the car door or you drive 5 meters without the seatbelt or things like that, they're really irritating, especially when you're trying to hook up a trailer and you're reversing and you want to get out and put the trailer on the tow hook. There's bings and bongs and everything warning you that the door's open, warning you that the car's still running. So those are really the only 2 complaints, nothing major, but still irritations. I think I'm going to try and find out if I can turn those bongs off especially. Oh. After a little bit of exploring, we got to Jessica the hippo. Now, when you arrive there, Tony or Shirley Joubert will give you a little bit of brief history about her. They will tell you about who's visited her. There's some famous people that have done that. And a little bit of background story on Jessica herself. She was rescued after floods, and Tony and Shirley fed her, looked after her and everything like that. Now, as a family, we're very against zoos and animals being kept in cages for entertainment purposes. And I can assure you that Jessica is not in a cage. She's free to go, and she actually does. There's a pod of hippos up the road that she frequently goes and visits. There was also rumors of Jessica attacking a tourist a few months ago, or maybe last year sometime, and I can assure you that it wasn't Jessica. Tony was telling us that the attack did happen, but it was with a wild hippo from the pod up the roads. Jessica actually didn't attack anybody. It is such a unique experience, and I recommend it to anybody. I must say, this Landy is very good on corrugated roads. This road is pretty bad, and it's actually honestly not too bad in this Landy. My 130 we would have been rattled apart, so it's quite comfortable. Enjoying this. One of the things I learned on this trip is that there are so many places in South Africa that we can visit, and we can do so comfortably. I haven't done a lot of South Africa, but we've done more of our neighboring countries than we have of South Africa. And it's quite a shame, actually, and I've discovered a lot of new places. So if you're traveling in South Africa, or anywhere that matter, make sure you have a lot of time so that you can stop and enjoy the scenery. We did this often on this trip, something that we maybe haven't done enough of in the past. And it was sometimes very rewarding. Another clever feature in this Land Rover is the internal mirror. You can either use it as a traditional mirror, or it changes into a screen with the image being projected from the camera that's sitting on the roof. Handy when your boot is loaded to the roof. And with that, our visit to Swadini and the Blyde River Canyon comes to an end. From here we head to Kruger National Park, a place where maybe I'm a bit sorry to admit that we haven't really spent a lot of time in. I've always had this image of it being overcrowded, and whenever there's animals, anything interesting to see, you end up in a parking lot full of people bustling to try and get the best view. So hopefully we don't experience that when we're there, and we're actually looking quite forward to it. So in the next episode, we'll be covering our visit to Kruger, some of the amazing sightings that we hopefully got on camera, and then I'll also show you some of the accessories we fitted to both vehicles. So in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Welcome to the new subscribers, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.